Oh, hi there. It's me, Jordan. Gosh, I'm so glad you found me. It's just a cozy little thing I like to do called, well, slow tag. But I'll keep this one a little more expeditious since I'm pretty sure I know why you're really here. That's right, Apple Intelligence. And if you're anything like me, well, shucks, with the way all these techopolies have been showing their latest shareholder innovations right there in our noggins, well, I imagine your patience might be wearing just a little thin. So, yeah, let's go ahead and dig into how to completely shut off Apple Intelligence on the Macintosh. Oh, hey, you know what? It's not quite as simple as you thought. And at the end, well, I don't know, maybe I'll surprise you with some ideas you might never thought of before. So, yeah, again, let's go ahead and be expeditious about this. Oh, you got better things to do, right? Like, tell an Apple, well now, no. I sure don't think so. Alright, now, first thing you're gonna want to do is open up your system settings. I sure do hope you know how to do that, but if you need a little quick tip, I'm a big fan of that tiny little magnifying glass in the top right. That thing there is called Spotlight, and it's a blazing fast way to open anything you got on your Mac. So we'll just go ahead and type in system settings and hit enter. Wow. Simple. Now, the next step is also pretty simple. And if you're watching this video, well, you might have already done this part. Which is fine, because you know what? Yeah, I already did it too. Now right there, in the left column, is the dedicated menu item for Apple Intelligence. I'll go ahead and give that little sucker a click. And make sure all the toggles and submenu are turned off. There you go. Now, if you're anything like me, you might be thinking, gosh, that's convenient. Oh, and yeah, I was also awfully generous of Apple. Make it so darn easy, turn off this silly little thing that nobody wanted in the first place. Well, I sure did think that. And then, well, when I was working on a little bit of writing in my fantastic distraction-free writing app, there I was, selecting a range of text to see the word count. And wouldn't you know it? Yeah. Son of a biscuit. That silly little Apple Intelligence writing tools icon, well, started popping up whenever I selected a bit of text. Now, you might be seeing the problem here. I already turned off Apple Intelligence. And then I was working on a distraction-free application. And lo and behold, a distraction! Baked right into the operating system. Hey, you know what? I like to think of myself as a pretty patient person. After all, patience is the process. At least that's what I always say. But, gosh, this whole Apple Intelligence thing, well, it's really starting to wear my patience thinner than a rusty old porch swing holding on for dear life midst of a whole big old honking hurricane. So here's what we do. There's another set of Apple Intelligence settings hidden away somewhere where you're not so likely to find them. Now, I get it. I like Apple as much as the next fella. This hardware and some of the softwares near about essential to my livelihood. But these Apple Intelligence shenanigans, well, they sure seem to be rising to a level of maliciousness that, well, it's just getting a bit too much to abide these days. So let's go ahead and go back into those system settings. Now, we're going to go ahead and ignore that convenient Apple Intelligence tab, because that whooshing noise you heard a minute ago, well, that was the sound of convenience whipping right on by. Yeah, go ahead and give a little wave in your rearview mirror as it goes, disappears. Bye. Now, let's go ahead and scroll down about midway down, or you can use the system settings search tool and just type screen time. Go ahead and click content and privacy under that little restrictions label. And even though, well, we're fixing to turn some buggers off, well, first, we gotta turn on the toggle for content and privacy restrictions. Now once that's on, we can go ahead and select all them little Apple Intelligence buggers we don't want to see anymore. Now for me, well, that's all of them. Now, a little FYI. First time I tried this, well, it didn't quite work. Yeah, so you might need to reboot your system for these settings to take effect. Or maybe they don't take any effect at all. Who knows? Apple certainly doesn't like the idea of you turning them off. At least wise, it wouldn't have made it so darn difficult in the first place. So there you go. That's how you completely turn off Apple Intelligence on the Macintosh. At least until Apple turns it back on again. Or until they remove the ability to disable it entirely. Which sure wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. So, well, what do we do then? And, for that matter, what do we do if we're just about at the end of our rope with all these AI shenanigans in the first place? Well, I don't know. I'm just a guy on YouTube. You're just you. Well, these ways I sure hope you are. And these tech companies, oh, they're just doing their darndest to make our lives, well, just a little bit too complicated. What I do know is that, well, Windows sure isn't any better. Heck, they're even worse, putting a whole dedicated AI button right there on their keyboards. Now, me personally, I think the iPad just might be the best computer for most people. But you still have some flavors of Apple Intelligence to contend with there. And you'd still be rewarding Apple for their unnecessary, malicious shareholder innovations. So, yeah, well, let's go ahead and save that one for another video. Now, here's a little something I found myself giving some serious thought to these days. Call it a third option. There's a little something called Linux. Now, I like tech that's easy and stress-free. And Linux, well, historically, hasn't been that. But it sure seems like that's not entirely the case anymore. So, I've been scoping out 2 different companies that build laptops specifically for Linux. And what that means is that everything should just work for the most part, you know? Meaning you're not gonna have to fuss around with, well, random drivers and settings and whatnot. And guess what? You won't have all that AI malarkey constantly getting shoved in your noggin. Yeah, here's one of the ones I've been leaning towards. It's called System 76 is a company based right here in the US of A. And oh yeah, you know what? Their systems are assembled here too. Neat. Now, what I like most about this particular lemur system, well, is that it sure seems lighter than a MacBook Air. And we can configure it for a whole lot cheaper than what Apple offers. Of course, it'll ship right to my door, fully functioning, with an easy-to-use Linux desktop. Now, alright, don't get me wrong. I'm not expecting to replace my livelihood making Mac. There ain't a whole lot of software I'll actually admit to loving, but Final Cut Pro, it sure is one of them. But what I can do with that fellow from System 76, well, I can stop putting all my eggs in the Apple basket. How's it work? I can do my part in sending Apple and all them other techopolies a message about all their AI horse duty. I sure as shucks don't want it. And I am more than willing to go with a third option to finally say enough sure is enough. And hey, maybe you feel the same. Yeah? That's why I'm dropping that link to the System 76 and the other company I found in the description. If you've already jumped ship, go ahead and let me know how it went. Maybe I'll be right behind you. Gosh, I sure do hope the water's warm. Anyhow, until next time, I'm Jordan. I sure do hope you're you. And this has been the Slow Tack. Bye.